shepherd, and I don't have the advantage that Matt has. I mean, you all know Matt. Matt's done good work. He's coming back and just gives you a lot there. And then one thing I liked and I heard about him, he says he doesn't like to see people leave the state of Maryland. Well, with me living here 67 out of my 69 years, I don't even like seeing people leave St. Mary's County. That's always been it for me. Some of our amenities and things that we've had made families and strengthened them and growing, all the education that goes on. Man, it kind of breaks my heart to see somebody move, but I do because all my brothers and sisters did. But I just wanted to put out that point. And there's a couple more that I want to give that I heard from Matt that I want to go on to. But what I want to do tonight is give you, first of all, the who I am. The second is the why I'm running. And the third would be the what are my thoughts and what are my plans. So who am I? Well, you know, I had over 40-year career with St. Mary's County Recreation and Parks Department. Started in 1978. Then I retired in 2011, and then I planted a church. Licensed into the ministry, planted a church. In 2017, the commissioner says, hey, we need somebody to come back and get that ballast straight again. Let's get moving forward, and I did that. But in the interim, there's a lot of other activity, but I'm going to speed this up, but in 2017, last September, I retired for the final time. Some people say it was 6, some say 3, but I hear it all over the place. But I came back and worked with Recreation and Parks again, retired in 2024 last year, 2017 to 24. So what do I do now? What keeps me going now in this, what I have full-time retirement, to get us to the why? One of the first things I want to do, and I'm being serious when I see this, I want to be a thoughtful and loving husband to my wife. That's what I want to do in retirement. Number 2, in retirement I want to do is I do like to get, Matt, I don't know what happened to him, but I do like to get out and play one round of golf every now and then. And I'm looking for a miracle every time I go out. I'm going to be honest with you on that. Number 3, I like to get out and run for fitness, and then I also not compete really, but run over for 20 years in our local hospice run, the 10K every year. And then I'm getting ready, which I do every year, try to get to Richmond and run a half marathon every November. So, loving husband, like to golf from time to time, get out on the street, and then lastly, what really makes me tick and go is my work with the local church and serving the Lord. That's what really makes me tick. Because I was licensed into the ministry in 2012, planted a church, then COVID came because we planted in an elementary school. So then 2 years without being able to do good, couldn't hold. So now I'm an elder in the current church. My wife and I do ministry for kids worship on Sunday morning. Then I'm also there. I still preach. I preached this last Sunday and the pastor was away. Last night, I'm in a para ministry for men. We met up there in Helen, right there on the hairpin turn coming into Margaret Grid Elementary, middle. We had a men's ministry there. We meet every Tuesday night. I was the speaker there last night. And then the last one is, the real one I like, is Child Evangelism Fellowship. In 2001, the Supreme Court said that CEF, Child Evangelism Fellowship, can sponsor after-school Good News Clubs in elementary schools just like any other after-school program for children that is appropriate for that age, afforded all the opportunities everybody else. So since 2001, they've been available. I've been doing them since 2013. And now I'm also leading to get them into my goal is to get them into every elementary school in Southern Maryland. It's Charles, St. Mary's, and Calvert County. So that all makes me go. And then all of a sudden, the why is there's an opening. Commissioner Hewitt turned out, can't run again. Never even thought about it. And then all of a sudden something hit me about it. And I said, well, now here we go. What I do, there's a leadership void, and that's what I do is leadership. At least so I think. So leadership with integrity, sound judgment, and moving forward to offer solutions with a vision. That's what I do, or at least, again, think I do. and do well. That's why I'm here tonight to tell you that. What a great opportunity for me, Arthur Shepard, to be with this kind of crowd. Because to be able to introduce myself, give you some of my abilities, answer your questions, because I know some of you have to say, who is he? How can we trust him? How can we move forward with Arthur Shepard as our commissioner in District 2, Leonardtown, Hollywood? So, let me, one I also want to tell you about Matt, and he took it from me. You know, in the Recreation Department, a lot of times throughout the years, started there in 1978, I'd get scouting groups would come. They'd want to see whether it was in a facility, the office, or they wanted me to come to them and talk about opportunities in recreation. I always pulled out $1's worth of change, quarters, dimes, nickels, and pennies. Because here's what I said to them, then after we talked about programming, I'd say, well, local government, and then who gets what? If you can tell me who gets the most money, I'll give you that percentage. And then somebody would finally get the answer, public schools, and they would get 50 cents, and then we'd roll it out. But I realized I made a small mistake, now a pretty big mistake, because you heard it from Matt first, is that I realized I needed to give this to one of the parents. And that's what I did. I'd say, here's what I'm going to do, and then you give me, because I wanted the young people to see that this wasn't government's money, this wasn't my money, this was coming from their parent that was paying, and now the money goes back in those percentages. And so work that. So I just want to assure you that I understand totally whose money this is. This is your money. This is the citizens. That's why this is opportunity. So I'm not going to get into strong details today. You can look at some things, some website, you can look at Facebook, but you know, as the campaign ramps up, as we get moving forward, you'll get more details, and then we talk about that, because I got to get ready forms, I got to answer to you. But one of the other reasons is, it isn't just to put off, I want you to tell you that, but the other reason is still I'm meeting with people to hear about what they are saying, what they're looking for. I heard one in the back today already about development, about how we're getting developing so much more, and can our roads handle it, and where do we go from there? So those are some of the things working through to come out, to hear from you, plus what's on my mind, and still where all the money, where's the trail of money? Because one of the biggest, it's not one of the biggest, the biggest for a county commissioner to me is that budget. Because I think in here, you could probably form some groups right here that would say what are priorities to them. It probably could get 6, but the batting order might be different amongst little small groups we'd have out. And then where does the money go? What do we do with this $350, $400 million? And how do we do it? So one of the biggest for me is living here just about all my life is I know now, and what I think about is people want to live where it's safe. Whether it's in their community, the county at large, no matter where it is, just like being on the water tonight and wherever we are, we want a safe place from the parking lot to the road in here, and we're talking about roads too. And I'll tell you what my thoughts on that in a second, but a safe place. That's why for me, I want to identify, work with the commissioner to identify what are our essentials, the things that we must do to thrive and be safe in St. Mary's County. So let's start with the Sheriff's Department. Let's go right straight to the state's attorney. Good to see Jamie tonight. Go right there. Let's go to what are to make things safe. What is on our roads? What's that looking like? What is our first responders? You know, that's become now a lot of money invested in our first responders here through local government. And then other ways of safety, our public schools. Public schools, what I call about safety there is just that an educated society and a community is going to keep you a safer community than otherwise. There's a lot of ways, but I want to work with 4 other commissioners in identifying and document for the public what are the initiatives, what are the things we say we must have, and what are the priorities. Thus, our budget is almost satisfied all the time. We'll hear from you, but we'll also know what are the priority lists, and we go there. And then what we have now, we'll invest in other things that are as needed and things like that. So to do that, you look at, we have a proof. So we take that and see, okay, want to get in and first crack is start about reprioritizing or possibly reprioritizing what are the needs regarding CAIP projects, regarding facilities, roads, and old, you've read in the news here lately about public schools and buildings and getting those refurbished and up to date so that we're here, nobody's wanting to leave, we have the amenities and thriving and the essentials, and then we can go from there. That's one of the biggest for me, and how we satisfy that as a safe community, continue to be that, and well done. Growth, I hear that. North County, I hear from North County. I visited North County on what that looks like, the growth up there in the Charlotte Hall area. I see that people are remarking what's going on in my neck of the woods where I grew up in the Lexington Park area on Willows Road and the new 162 townhouses there. Leonardtown's growth is sped up, which Leonardtown is a wonderful place, a most exceptional place. Leonardtown is a wonderful place. Its growth and you show what it can be in a good and a safe way. So, with regarding growth, I'm so excited to hear about the come on, what's the plan? Comprehensive plan. Yeah, thank you. Y'all probably, where was I? So the comprehensive plan, you guys invest in that. And then after that, it'll go to the, work with the consultant, then it'll go to the planning commission, and then the commissioners, I don't know the timeline, Commissioner Eric might answer that question, timeline for this group of commissioners for the next election cycle, where that's going to get handled, passed, and moved, so that we can see what it looks like about growth, how we're going to do, what are we going to do with some of those areas. I keep hearing we don't want another Waldorf up there in the north end of the county, and totally understand all that. But there's a lot that goes in regarding development, regarding property rights, zoning, and all that, and that needs to be massaged and worked out. Trying to get there so you can ask some questions. But let me tell you another thing about my budgeting experience so you'll get that. Not all departments in recreation in the county government have 3 budgets. That's the general fund, that's your money, the tax dollars. Number 2, that's still your money, but that's the CIP, capital projects that build roads, facilities, parks, you name it, work in the sheriff's office, those at the new detention center. Those are called capital improvement projects. That's 2 budgets that I've worked with those years in Recreation Park. And a third is an enterprise fund budget. We have also, to go along with that, about $5 million in the general fund and $6 million in the enterprise fund. Let me give you an example. Right up when you come out here, y'all, how many of y'all went to Hollywood Elementary School? Back in the day.
Back in the day.
So I'm the only old one in here. Okay. I'm working with you. I'm gonna try to work with you on that. But what with the former Hollywood Elementary School, on that Myrtle Dean Road, that is now a recreation and parks facility, county government facility, right? Recreation and parks. But here's what happens: those former facilities that would have been abandoned facilities now are lively and operable, but the utilities, the custodial services, and all those are funded through the fees and charges. And that's what happens. That's where that extra $6 million comes for. It depends on the school year. Margaret Brent, Leonard Hall, Carver Recreation Center, Hollywood Recreation Center, and much more. So there's a different fee. So we utilize that space, that former space, to make something out of it. Not only leave us without having abandoned buildings off the surplus, but they can be done through hourly employees, hourly staff, other contract services, without use of the taxpayers' money. So working in all 3 of them, general fund budget, capital improvement project budget, and an enterprise budget, I think landed us at a high place. And with that, in the past 2 years, right before I left, we got our department accredited. 199 in the country, we're the 6th one in the state of Maryland that was accredited in recreation and parks. Now I know you want to go, let me go to another one for you to get started before you ask your questions. Let's go to your I'm giving a commercial really for these current commissioners, Ostro and Colvin. I don't know why I'm not the campaign manager. But your tax rate's about number 4, 5, or 6, right in there somewhere, the lowest in the state of Maryland right now. Did you know that? No. St. Mary's County it is. Just went back and read them today under the assessment. And then in that, just want to give facts, and that's what you can look that one up tonight, and you can tell me if I'm wrong. The assessment is around there, and then with that homestead tax of 3%, the highest it can go up, that works pretty good. Now we can talk constant yield. So here's what I want to do as far as all that is concerned. Once you get in, get in, then now you're working with the group, and that's the first priority, is to understand what do we have to do, because I can't promise tonight, because one of the things about that, I don't know what the needs are going to be next year this time. Really don't, for the FY27 don't. What's going on, what's happening with things coming down from the state, the blueprint in education, all those different things that come to see, okay, here's where our revenues are estimated, but here's what we have, what aren't we going to do and move there. But just want you to realize tonight that I have a acumen, a sense of a budget, what it means, went all those years for over 40 years in recreation and parks and put us at a place. So let me just tell you that too while I'm standing here. When the kid says, how much did recreation and parks get? I know y'all must have got a lot. 2 cents on every dollar, that's what recreation and parks gets, is 2%. But we don't complain about that, because that's a pretty good average in the state and around the country, 2.5%, 3%. We get 2% of the general fund budget to do all we do within our normal daily operations. So for all those years of being a steward of that money, for all those years of the capital projects and what you're seeing in your county parks, and now to transfer that leadership, integrity, sound judgment, solutions, and a vision, I think I just want to tell you tonight, I think that can be done right here, right through him, Arthur Shepherd, and just like Todd too, I'm asking for your vote tonight. We had the first one here, but the first one I went to was at the Green Turtle, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. We were there. Then we were here in probably, 20? That first one night we were here? Mm-hmm. And now, what I hear earlier, 61, 60, so it's up like that. So to be able to talk before you, real privilege. I went fast because I wanted to know, want you to know, but I know who's this guy and what's he going to do, and then so now I just wanted to open it up and let you ask me anything you like. Anything you like.
Okay, I've got a couple questions. What are you going to do, or what do you see this high-density housing to keep it from changing the character of St. Mary's County? How would you make sure that it doesn't mushroom? And also, I noticed that they're doing something over at Leonard Hall. I'm just kind of curious if you know what they're doing. They're carrying it larger.
Read you on the floor.
Can you repeat the question?
Okay.
I can't hear.
Large density housing, like what we talked about on Willows Road, what are we going to do to see that it just doesn't put such a ointment in the mix, and then Leonard Hall, the floor is being repaired, even though it's just a capital project there. But when you talk about density and growth, you're talking about zoning, you're talking about a lot of things, you're talking about property rights and all things that go with that. But that's why the comprehensive is here now, to speak to that, to speak to what we want in the county, what you want, and what everyone wants. And then now to get through zoning where it is, to see if there's some things that need to be changed, because everything that goes through the planning commissions are sometimes approval, and you know there's an appeals board for things to be appealed. So really, one of the biggest things you have to have now is you have to have that infrastructure of roads. We got to start thinking about that in a big way. Big way. Roads, sidewalks, ADA transition plans, all that go with that, so that you are moving about.
But it doesn't seem like you're following a plan. Right now in Mechanicsville, we have 9 gas stations.
In Charlotte Hall.
And just Charlotte Hall.
2 miles.
And now 3 grocery stores. What kind of plan are you following?
Oh, you're not. I'm not the planner yet. I'm asking you to let me be.
Oversee the plan.
But I'm not current. I'm not current. I'm asking to be a commissioner.
All right. Well, this
But I'm with you. I'm not putting you down.
Something passionate
Yeah.
for us.
Yeah, and I think I've had them talks with a lot of the current commissioners, some of the past commissioners, people in the planning commissions of where do we go from here, and to get already zoned so that they already have that. If there's the acreage over here that's available and they want to put another one and another one, I don't have a good answer for you tonight, because that was an approvable project.
Yeah. It's changing Charlotte Hall. If there's any reason of why I'm going to move out of the state, because Charlotte Hall, my community, isn't what it was when I came here.
And that's one thing we need, I would think, as a traffic study, because I don't know if that's new traffic or not. We'd have to find that out. Is it new traffic or is it the same traffic, but just there's, the lights, I get through there a lot. The lights would be frustrating. You know, that would be, I use the frustrating word by having that development, but you know, if you're on the development side and you're the property owners, so, but let me just let you know, totally, probably the first place I went was North County to talk about this. Because I totally understand, at least the word, I mean, use the word empathetic, because I mean, I don't live in that corridor, so I don't feel it like that. But over here, I know I'm a Route 5 guy from Leonardtown, anywhere down there, because I know 235, the grind was there, so I'm a Route 5 guy. But, sorry about it.
Gas station, we got 9 liquor stores now, and nobody's going to put in a restaurant, or 2. It's replacing you got a couple fast food places, everybody thought about putting in a nice restaurant. And what they've done to Charlotte Hall is be criminal. Terrible.
Well, and remember,
I concur.
I appreciate y'all letting me answer these questions. But, you said the liquor stores and the gas stations and all that in there, but again, those are that's zoning and appropriate use, and if it's not new traffic, and from what I'm hearing from everybody, it's just not new traffic. Is that same corridor?
Absolutely it is. We see it every day backed up from Golden Beach Road to the light.